Hey everyone, today's video will be me vacuuming this aquarium with a Python siphon. A lot of people maybe have seen that before, but people who don't own fish might be interested in that. Yesterday I showed a video of these plecos cleaning up this tank. It was all green, covered in algae. Well, they ate a whole ton, so they went to the bathroom a whole ton, and I'm going to be vacuuming up all the gravel in this tank, and also this tank, and another tank. Let's get started. Remove the strainer so it doesn't get clogged up the drain, and here's the end of the Python. Just going to screw this on to the faucet. It came with this white attachment, which I leave on the sink. Now, I always run over to the sink to shut it off. If I try shutting it off on the other end, the pressure just releases here and it just makes a big mess. You don't want to pull on this because this joint here breaks really easily. I wish they'd make this part out of brass, but they just don't have that option. So now I'm going to turn this water on. It's actually creating a vacuum. Air is going this way, so as soon as I put the other end in the tank, it'll start sucking. Okay, the sink is running right now, creating this suction, as you can hear, coming from the other end. So I'm going to start cleaning the gravel. Today I'm going to be doing about a 25% water change, maybe 30. Just going like that, let the gravel come back out, and all the waste gets sucked up, along with any minerals that have settled. Having a lot of waste in an aquarium isn't necessarily bad. I've had tanks, they look really gross because the gravel hasn't been cleaned in months, but the waste has been broken down, so it's essentially just dirt or silt. You do an ammonia test, nothing shows up. Just like in a pond, it just creates a thick layer of silt. It doesn't look good. I vacuum this tank here about every 2 weeks. And exactly what I'm doing now, I'll do for the entire tank. And you can see up above, we have already dropped about 1 inch of water in this 55-gallon tank. There's always a lot of crap that builds up underneath ornaments. And when you do this, a lot of times the water will become foggy for a couple hours because I'm stirring everything up. It's important not to do more than, I would say, a 30 or 40% water change at once, because the temperature is going to change and that could shock the fish. Not so much the pH. The pH in the aquarium is basically the same as what's coming out of the tap. Also, the water that I will be putting in is not distilled water, so it's good to mix them. Okay, over here there's not as much waste as what I was picking up there. So if I don't find a lot, I'm going to go where I see it. Okay, there's a bunch right here in the corner. And you don't want to change the filter cartridges on the same week you're cleaning the gravel. You gotta have some bacteria in there to maintain. Yes, this tank only has 2 animals, so it probably wouldn't even make a difference. But that's the way I do things. I don't bother buying filter cartridges that are actually meant for the filter. Instead, I go to the hardware store and I buy a big 2x3 sheet of plastic furnace filter cartridge, and that can be reused so many times in the sink. It's also really cheap. You can also take nylons and fill them up with charcoal to get rid of ammonia if you have that problem. My tanks have really never had an ammonia problem. Okay, we're done with this side of the tank. I'm going to move over here to the other side. Okay, I bet you there's going to be a lot of waste under this. It usually collects. This right here is the thermometer sensor, which came disconnected. Cichlids like moving things around. Oh, look at that. There's a bunch of junk under that one. You see, I just stirred it up into the water. No big deal. The filter will get it. Let's go after the big pieces with the vacuum. Get them out of the water. I've done this for other people, and in some cases they haven't done it in years, and the entire tube would become black, like you couldn't even see through it. Just disgusting. So basically, what I'm removing from the tank is being wasted in new water. That's how a siphon works. Or the Python works. I used to do this back when I had just the tiny aquariums with a siphon in a bucket. Let's move the castle back to the other side. Move the fox back. Okay, this tank is about almost 30% done, so I guess I will be doing a 40% water change. Go put this thing back. The filter is about to shut off. The water is getting too low. I'm going to unplug that in a moment so I don't burn out the impeller. Yep, the filter just shut off. There's probably going to be, yep, there's a lot of crap over in the cave where they live. You can see the fish going nuts because I'm going near their cave. Oh. Alright, that's enough for today. I'm going to go reverse the flow of the water so we can start filling this up again. You don't want to make it completely clean. You got to have some stuff in there for the bacteria to still feed on. By doing that, it just sent the water back into the tank, and now it's going to start filling up. Alright, I just turned the filter back on. This is one of the filters where the impeller is actually in this box underwater. It's not in the back like the old-fashioned ones. It's self-priming, so it doesn't need to be primed if your power goes off. Here we go, another tank, basically the same thing. This one's not as bad by far as waste. If you're new to this channel, know that big fish does not live in this tank. It's just temporarily. Just for a couple days. There's actually a lot of waste over in this corner. This is a 30-gallon tall. And this tank is just about done. There wasn't a lot of waste, and I'm going to start filling it back up. Alright, now this is my frog tank. There's also a small Placo in here. It's kind of overgrown. I gotta do some thinning. People used to tell me that Pothos will die if it lives in an aquarium, but actually it does pretty good. It never drowns. It's been living in here for 5 years, and it's actually taking over the tank. It's actually invasive in an aquarium. It keeps the water really clean. It does get the nitrates up though, so you gotta do some water changes in here, like I'm doing now. I gotta do some trimming. I want it cut, the entire front of the aquarium, because you see it's even hard for me to work in here. I'm gonna show you the setup in this tank in just a minute. Alright, so here's the situation in this tank. There's a filter right here, and a filter way back there. I have this trough in the back with a drain in the middle, so the two filters are pouring onto that trough, pouring in the middle. It's halfway, so we have all that land in there where the frog can be, and these plants absolutely thrive. Look at that, there's some crickets hiding in the plants. Those are the frog's food. And this aquarium fills up fast. It's a 30, but there's only 15 gallons of water in here. There's a power head there, air stone. The Placo is hiding in that cave. Let's show that guy really quickly. See the Placo in there? You can see it right there. There's a heater. There's another heater in there. There's the drain. You see it's an old piece of gutter. You got that filter pouring into the trough, emptying out there, along with that filter there. And it's already back up. We gotta shut the water off. Actually, I'm gonna have to drain some. Well, we're getting up there too far. Alright, this is the tool here. You see on the end where you're working, it has a shut off here. You don't want to shut this off because, like I showed at the beginning, that joint it came with, the pressure of our water causes this joint just to burst and water everywhere. Now this thing, you want to keep this in a dark place. You don't want to keep it where I have it right now underneath the ultraviolet lamp, because the hose is going to turn black. Mildew will start growing in there. Just ripping out some of these invasive plants. Just ripping out a whole bunch of them. We got to get some daylight shining into the water. Just so much of this stuff. All this stuff I'm pulling out right now, it'll grow back within a month or two. Push all the roots over into the corner. There we go. Just a little bit of thinning. Hope this video was interesting. Thanks for watching.